guys, this is my 2010 Volkswagen GTI. You can now get them for under $10,000 used. This one only has about 58,000 miles on it, so a relatively low mile example. You can get them with fairly low miles for this price, as long as they've been well maintained. It's a really nice little reliable car, good daily driver. You know, it makes good power and torque, being a lightweight little vehicle. You know, this one does have brand new tires, and is in pretty decent shape. You know, aside some minor, headlight caking since it was a Texas car. But overall, let's go for a quick little drive. Very classic VW interior here. Everything is very simplistic. You know, these cars that come with a dual clutch gearbox, a DSG, as long as they have been well maintained and the fluids have been changed, they're known to go very high mileage without needing any sort of repairs. Transmission is, as long as it's maintained, can make it into the 200,000 mile range, obviously depending on the driver and maintenance history. But overall, a really nice little vehicle. I guess the best part about this vehicle is the drivetrain, the engine specifically. So this engine is a 2-liter E888. It's been actually placed in any sort of Volkswagen vehicle, and it's been around for a really long time. Yes, it has some known flaws, some known issues, but overall, great car. Reliable as long as you stay up on maintenance. The engine is an E888 engine code, 2-liter turbo, producing about 200 horsepower and about the same amount of torque. Then he sold it to the second owner, who took it from 30 to 58, and basically both of them had nothing but great things to say about the car. And honestly, this hot hatch is extremely fun to drive. The seating position extremely comfortable. As you can see, the plaid seats have worn in really nicely. Alright, so talking about the numbers here, this car does get decent gas mileage for a turbo 4-cylinder engine of this generation. Alright guys, now we're gonna see. So this car is not all about top end power, but we're just going to evaluate the merging and passing highway power. So let's go ahead and do that now. Pretty decent pickup. Not bad at all. This car picks up nicely. The thing I love about this is the power. It hits like a brick wall around, like 1500 RPM. You start getting the power on, and the power does not really let off at all until about 6,500, 7,000 RPM. So it pulls like a freight train in stock form up to about 80, 90 miles an hour and beyond. Obviously, it starts running out of breath at the higher speeds. But I'm pretty impressed by this small little engine that could. Let's simulate a pass 60. We're doing about 60-ish. We're gonna get up to about, let's say we're passing a truck that's dropping rocks on us. We're gonna keep it in automatic mode and just floor it. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. This is very decent acceleration. Very decent. Let's drop it back down to the speed limit. All right, so essentially, kind of going back to our original key points about this vehicle, it's geared to be performing at lower speeds. That's its peak power band in stock form. Sure, if you get a downpipe intake, exhaust, stage 1 tune, ARP tune, then it's going to open up the top end, and you'll be performing. This car responds really well to mods. But if you want to keep the reliability and maybe just get a stage 1 and an exhaust, that's also a reasonable alternative. but this car tracks perfectly on a highway. Not a single bump, not a single shake. I know it has to do with alignment, you know, and tire balancing and whatnot. You know, this is a 2011. This is not a youngling whatsoever, but sure, the tech is slightly behind. I mean, what else is really missing? Nothing, essentially. Nothing essentially is missing here. That's, you know, this car is going to be much cheaper to insure than an equivalent Mustang EcoBoost or some kind of a rear-wheel drive Camaro or any kind of sporty car. This is where you're going to save the money. You know, the insurance is going to be much cheaper, generally speaking. Obviously, it's going to depend on your age, driving record, credit score, all that jazz. But realistically speaking, you'll have a much cheaper time owning this vehicle versus you know, rear-wheel drive Mustang or some of the other sports car. Essentially, the gears are pretty short, and it's a closed dual clutch 6-speed, 2 wet clutches, like the Civic Si, for example, the older gen before they went turbo. So, you know, most of the power would come when you hit VTEC. And this, you're essentially in VTEC most of the time. If you can think about it that way. We have a little downward incline here, going down, and then up. And this car just soaks up these bumps beautifully. It almost feels like an EV type torque, like a base model Tesla, except it does have a soul. But this car really shines in kind of like the 5 mile an hour to 60 range, 5 to 60. I mean, there's not many other cars in this price range that deliver this amount of joy and experience. It's really tail happy. If you throw into a corner fast enough, as long as your tire pressures are set up correctly and, you know, you keep the front a little higher. If you look around hard enough, you will find an example like I did in a, you know, less than 60,000 mile range for under 10,000. Really doable. Plan to keep it, you know, into the 100,000, maybe 150,000 mile range. But if you pick up a used variant, similar like to what I did. All right, guys, let's do a little bit of a rainy weather drive now. Now, mind you, this car is in the Continental tires, but because of the high torque output, as you just witnessed, the car does produce a decent amount of slip here and there. The traction control system is really stout in this vehicle. It's not too intrusive, but it does work pretty well. As you can see right here, it will save you from understeering too hard. The car is very renowned for having a torquey little engine. Usually it feels like the torque of like a little higher displacement 6-cylinder, maybe like a 3.7 from the G37 or the 370Z. That's without a tune, without exhaust, without downpipe. I mean, once you add all those mods up, then it will far supersede the 370 and other contemporary competitors in this price range. But as you can see, car handles really nicely. I'm gonna try and take it on a back road here, and I know I've kind of hammered down this point over and over, but you really just have to drive this car to really feel the torque and the power. We're coming up to a red light here, so I'm going to take a little break and just talk about the interior quality of the car here. You know, for 2011, everything is fairly well laid out. Everything is within, you know, kind of like a cockpit of an airplane. It's just a very playful little hot hatch here. Power out of this corner. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. All right, we're going to downshift into this tight hairpin. Look at the gearbox. It just bangs off gears nicely. A little traction, power slide there. Rogue traction slightly. And we're going to power out this corner again here. And this car is just, it just eats up corners like nothing. I think it's a combination of this tires and the, you know, the drivetrain. But it's just honestly, I know it can't be a 10 out of 10 because, you know, the cars out there, the cars that you can buy, you know, obviously they're the FT86s, the BRZs, you know, the true all-wheel drive hot hatches, the GR Corolla, the Civic Type Rs of this world, you know, and they don't they exist, but they don't really detract from this car. If you're a car guy, obviously you'll think about them, but this, plenty of powerful and different. I'm a big car guy, I've had 350Zs growing up. I had a Honda S2000 AP2, I had a C5 Corvette, I had a Genesis G70 twin turbo V6, I've had the G37 Coupe, G37S sedan. Big JDM guy, but I haven't really owned too many German cars, but I haven't really had the pleasure of owning any M cars or anything like that. But this is just on another level of driving bliss. And like I said, for the money you're paying, under $10,000, the build quality, everything being so solid, and just the way this drivetrain is coming together, this is just I want to give this car a 10 out of 10. I know I can't, but that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm really nobody. I'm not a car blogger, I'm not a car reviewer, but I just wanted to give you just kind of an honest feedback from a daily driver perspective. So yeah, so there it is, 2011 Volkswagen GTI. I almost said Nissan GTR, but anyways.
The town centre, with different generations on each floor, greeting us as we go. Among them, Samir's grandmother, the matriarch of the family.
I don't know if it's the tires. It's probably the tires being... All right, before I let you go, we do have to do another pull. And this car just... the torque is just outstanding. Save gas so that we car guys can enjoy our gas-powered cars for much longer. But honestly, for the price, Florida, it rains half the year, and then this may be a great alternative there. You could put some wheels on it and make an autocross car, and I would strongly consider it, especially if you can find a clean example like this one. From my research and my cursory reading online, as long as you maintain this car, honestly, I would love to hear your feedback of what you think about the car. If you were an owner, or if you own one now, would love to hear your feedback. Look at the side profile. It's essentially, a lot of people call it the wedge or whatever, the, slice of cheese, whatever, you can call it whatever you want, but, the fact remains, really versatile, very decently good looking, handsome little hatchback. Look at the space back there. Look at the room back there. It's just once you pop the hatch, you lower the rear seats down. It's really spacious. It does come in 4-door variants, but this is a handsome car. I really love owning it. I can see myself keeping it for a while. Really, people say it's a teenager's car or whatever you want to say, but just the utility of this vehicle alone, I don't know, would you rather be driving an SUV or this little beautiful hot hatch? I think you know the answer already. I think the wheels are definitely very tastefully designed as well. They kind of flow well with the overall design language of the car as well. Really beautiful. But yeah, let me know, guys. Thank you. An owner's review. I know there's a ton of videos out there, but this will be your kind of honest and unbiased overview. I did get lucky. I'm just really enjoying this car, and I can see myself taking it to at least 150,000 miles before I consider swapping it out for something else. But now let's go for a drive and do a little compilation of pools. This is a great little alternative for you because it will put a smile on your face. You can really feel the torque as it kind of just slightly pushes you into the back of the seat. But yeah, essentially, if you're looking for a nice peppy little vehicle, you can definitely look into a GTI.